One of the most annoying elements of the modern age is that we are governed by the most trite platitudes possible. This is probably just the complaint of the eternal conservative, always thinking that things are worse in this age and not in others. Perhaps 500 years ago, the arguments were just as bad. But it's really hard to imagine that any era has had worse slogans than things like "get morality out of politics." Phrases like this have been refuted by the right so many times that it probably seems pointless to talk about it. But I suppose for anyone who might not be familiar, the idea of getting morality out of politics is on its face such a ridiculous concept, because all of politics is based on morality. What government is for, what makes a legitimate government, what government is organized towards, what the economy is for, how the economy should be organized. All of these things are deeply moral questions. Anything from the GDP to healthcare policy to even traffic lights are moral questions, and there is simply no way to separate morality from them. What left-wingers mean when they say separate morality from politics is submit to my morality and ignore your own, which is very good. That is what any dominant regime has to say to dissidents. Perhaps the triteness of the modern age comes from the unwillingness of the left to just admit that that is the position that they're in. What definitely makes the progressive position so annoying is that they will often even refuse to admit that they have any morality to begin with. Progressives have, of course, spent the past couple of decades trying to debunk the entire concept of morality. And despite that, or perhaps more likely because of that, today we see so obviously that they are the most moralizing people around. But again, this is all really boring stuff. I'm sure this is stuff that my audience has heard many times, and there's not much of a point in repeating it. But this issue of morality in politics has a similar sister issue. Along with the meaningless phrase of getting morality out of politics is often paired the similarly meaningless phrase of get your religion out of politics. However, unlike the first phrase, which most conservatives will normally argue against because it's so obviously idiotic, many conservatives will be willing to accept, either implicitly or explicitly, the idea that there should be a separation from religion and politics. But it's worth backing up a little bit first. Why is it that I'm talking about this topic today? Well, the answer is, once again, I saw a tweet which has gotten these ideas flowing. Okay. I swear, this isn't going to become a tweet reaction channel. I don't even have the tweet in front of me, so I'm not really responding to it specifically. It's just the thing that got me thinking about this subject. It said something along the lines of, any country that tries to meld politics with religion will fail. Statements like this from left-wingers are as ridiculous as they are annoying. Anyone who has even a basic understanding of the history of governments throughout the world will know that the melding of politics and religion is a basic element of almost all societies at almost all times. The attempt to separate this is something that has only occurred relatively recently in the long history of humanity. So, since we can furnish many examples of millennia-old civilizations, which always mixed politics and religion together, we can show pretty clearly that this is not inherently a recipe for failure. Much the opposite. Any system that has existed for thousands of years certainly cannot be considered a failure. Perhaps it can be criticized in other ways. Perhaps you could highlight many other drawbacks that comes with such a system. Perhaps it's not the best system suited towards human flourishing, but the absolute least that can be said about it is that it is not a failure. These anti-historical assertions from the left are always very annoying, but they're also something to be expected. This is because the very left-wing worldview is at war with history. But, of course, the heart of the matter is not that combining religion and politics is a failure. It is that left-wingers believe that combining religion and politics is bad. Now, the first reason why this assertion that religion and politics should be separated is wrong. is for the same reasons that saying that morality and politics should be separated is wrong. That is because religion and morality cannot be separated. If you get your morals from religion, then there is simply no way for you to separate religion and politics without also separating morality from politics, and, as I've already shown, that concept means nothing. Once again, this is just an attempt from the left to say, don't do things that I dislike, which is a perfectly natural thing for power to say to not power. But as I said previously, it would just be really nice if the left could be honest about that fact, that they are simply speaking from a position of power and saying to those who are not in a position of power that they want them to shut up. I doubt that a king in the Middle Ages would have said to a witch that we need to separate magic from politics. This demand from the left of separating religion and politics is impossible to be carried through in any way, even if we are to, for the moment, use the conventional definition of religion, that is, some sort of theistic worldview. There is simply no way to have people in government who are theists, who do not have that affect the way that they govern. As I've already said, your worldview, your morality, your religion, it affects, and it should affect, the way that you view questions of governance. Whether it's something like tax policy, or it's one of the controversial topics like same-sex marriage, your religion is going to play a part in how you answer those questions. And this is where we get at even more extreme versions of the left-wing word games. Because, of course, though, as I've already said, your religion will affect any policy that you hold, the thing that left-wingers are really referring to here are the controversial social issues. They will shout the meaningless word theocrat at you if you wish to hold any policy which is to the right of them socially, ignoring for a moment that theocracy has nothing whatsoever to do with having explicitly religious laws, even if that is what we were talking about. Even if we accept the left-wing definition of theocracy, this position is certainly not held consistently by left-wingers. Would someone on, say, the center-left who says that their views on immigration and healthcare are influenced by their religious belief be called a theocrat by the left for those views, even though they want to legislate according to themselves based on their own religion? No, they would not be called theocrats for that. And we know that because there are, in fact, many politicians who make precisely those arguments. The only way the left could hold this concept of no theocrats in government consistently would be to have no religious people in government whatsoever. That would, however, only go to show that the left's own supposed non-religion is really just a competing religion, which wishes, like most religions, to banish others. But this problem with the idea of separating religion from politics goes even deeper. Religion is not just synonymous with morality. Religion is really the peak of morality. I could, for example, as a Catholic, hold certain moral views which are parallel to my religion. For such views to make any sense, they would have to be consistent with my religious worldview, but they could nevertheless be certain views which are not directly commanded by my religion. If we were to make a pyramid of the most and least important parts of your own moral worldview, views like this would be on the lower end. But religion is the very peak of that worldview. It's the very top of the pyramid. When we say religion, because so many people have forgotten what it really means, it's often an unhelpful term. What we really mean by religion is the way that you view the entire universe. What the universe is for, what we are for, what everything is for. That is what your religion is, whether it's Catholicism or whether it's atheistic, progressive, left-wing Gnosticism. And with this understanding of religion, it should become apparent that it's not only as ridiculous as saying that you should separate morality from politics, it is, in fact, far more ridiculous than a claim like that. That is why it is impossible to separate religion from politics. Thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe to my Patreon or Subscribestar if you enjoy this content, or you can buy t-shirts from my Teespring. And please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and share these videos with anyone who you think will enjoy them. A special thanks to my donors, yourself, Siphius Rex, Lita, The Right Cafe, Quo Pregranator, Josiah, King of Evil Florida and the Moon, Seth Apex, Richard, Cringewalker, Zian Harris, Thomas, Windowlick, Augustine, Skytoucher, Max Jerome, Matthias the Templar, and Lewis.